Priya's hands would not stop shaking. She stood outside the glass doors of the regional administrative office. Her resume clutched against her chest, like something she was trying to keep alive. The folder had been ironed the night before. She had ironed a folder. She noticed that now and almost laughed, except laughing felt dangerous in a body this tense. Inside, she could see other candidates. Pressed suits, easy postures. One man was already speaking to the panel coordinator, with the relaxed confidence of someone who had grown up expecting doors to open. Priya watched him through the glass and felt the 7-hour train ride from Rampur settle into her bones, all at once. She pushed the door open anyway. The waiting room smelled like cold coffee and bureaucratic carpet. 12 chairs. 11 already filled. She took the last one, beside a potted plant that had given up. Someone had left it there to die slowly and professionally, and something about that made her feel less alone. Sindal sure. Other candidates did not speak to her. They spoke around her, over her. At one point, the man from the lobby leaned toward his friend and said something in a low voice, and both of them looked at her worn kurti, at her cheap shoes, at the folder she had ironed, and they smiled the way people smile when they are not actually amused. Priya looked straight ahead. She had not told her mother how far she had traveled. Her mother thought she was interviewing in Lucknow. Lucknow was 40 minutes away. This city was 7 hours. Asajam. But her mother would have worried, and worrying would have kept Priya up the night before, and she needed that night to practice her answers in the mirror of a bathroom. She shared with 4 other women in a rented room that cost her half her monthly savings. When her name was called, she stood. One candidate snorted. Another turned away. A woman near the window whispered something that contained the word village, and the word was not meant kindly. Priya walked through the door. There were 4 people on the panel. She registered them the way you register weather, minus quickly, fully, without drama. 2 men who looked bored, a woman writing something, and one man at the end of the table, younger than the others, who was watching her with an expression she could not yet read. The bored man on the left spoke first. He did not say her name correctly. He mispronounced it in the way that is not accidental, in the way that means I have not tried. He glanced at her file. He asked where she had done her undergraduate degree. She told him. He repeated the college name back in a tone that made it smaller. Then he asked, looking at his pen rather than her face, what exactly she thought she could offer that candidates with better credentials could not. The room was very quiet. Priya set her ironed folder on the table. She had prepared for this question. Not the words of it, but the feeling underneath it. She had known someone in that room would look at her and see what was missing instead of what was there. She had stood in front of that shared bathroom mirror for 3 nights, preparing for exactly this. She told them about the village where she grew up, not with sentiment. With data, 42% of families in her district had no documentation for their land rights. She knew, because she had helped 31 of them file paperwork over 2 years, working evenings, working weekends, working in whatever light was available. She knew the specific errors that kept getting made. She knew which forms were designed so poorly that even educated filers failed. She had built a 1-page guide that the local post office now kept at the counter. She put the guide on the table. She had brought 12 copies. No one laughed. The man at the end of the table picked up the guide. He read it. He set it down. He asked her one question minus just one minus, and it was a real question. The kind that expects a real answer. She gave it. He nodded slowly, not like someone performing thoughtfulness, but like someone actually thinking. The bored man on the left had stopped looking at his pen. The interview ended 20 minutes later. She collected her folder and walked out through the waiting room, where the same candidates sat in the same chairs. No one looked at her the way they had before. She was not sure they knew why they had stopped. She took the stairs down instead of the elevator and stood outside in the afternoon light and let herself breathe. Her phone buzzed. Her mother checking in asking if she had eaten. She typed back that she was fine. Then she sat on the steps of a government building 7 hours from home and ate the 2 rotis. Her mother had packed anyway, because mothers pack food regardless of what you say. 3 weeks later, the letter came. She read it 4 times. Then she called her mother, and she did not explain about the train, or the hours, or the ironed folder. She just said the thing that mattered. Her mother went silent for a moment, then she made a sound that was not crying, except that it was. On Priya's first day, she brought 12 more copies of the guide. The man from the end of the table passed her in the corridor and said, without stopping, that the department was already talking about making it official. She nodded. She kept walking. Her shoes were still the same ones. She had not replaced them yet. Some things you keep a little longer than necessary, just to remember the weight of them.